Let's discuss this now and the problems facing the South African Social Security Agency. And we're joined by the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development, Bridget Masango, who talks to us from Cape Town this evening. Ms. Masango, good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time. Let's start with whether the integrity of the social grant system is in question to your mind.
Good evening, Xoli, and thank you for having me. Yes, the systems of the applications and payments of grants has been a source of concern for many of us as the Portfolio Committee members of Parliament, but also for the communities at large. We judge this from the inquiries that we've been receiving from frustrated South Africans who would want to apply. When they apply, they get, for example, a response that says, your grant has been approved, but then the money never comes. So it has been a source of real concerns, but obviously it was made even worse by the revelations that came with the two Stellenbosch University students on the 23rd of October 2024.
Talk to us more about the weaknesses in the system. Where are they?
The weaknesses in the system are, first of all, the system is paying ineligible people at the expense of eligible people. And this happens in an environment or in an ecosystem where we have been told by the department or by Sassa that there are databases through which they put the applications so that they ensure that the people who end up being approved for payment are the people that are eligible in terms of them, meeting the threshold of 624 Rand and below, and in terms of them not being employed or having not been employed for some time, and so on and so forth. So those are the challenges that many people are saying they are experiencing, and also the fact that people get approved for this grant, the SRD grant, but the money goes to people, other people who actually change the phone numbers on the actual active application, so that the notice of the money being approved does not go to the the applicant, but it goes to those people who are obviously practicing fraud in the system. So those are just a few of obviously many problems that are going on in the system.
Yeah. The Institute for Economic Justice, as you heard in that court case preceding our conversation, arguing in court that the regulations are violating the constitutional rights to welfare. Where, again, does the intervention need to come?
The intervention needs to come from the department in terms of making sure that although the system was introduced during a time when people could not go to Sassa offices because we were under lockdown, which is why the system happened to be online, completely online. There is now a need, I believe, that for the system to be including walk-ins for example, people that cannot access online transactions, such as people who have no phone, those who have phones, they are not smart enough. Those that are smart enough, they may not even have the airtime, because a person who is relying on 370 Rand a month to live may not have an abundance of airtime, or may not even know how to use the system itself. So that is what I believe needs to be reviewed and looked at.
As you talk about smartphones, and perhaps the phone may be smart, but the person simply does not have airtime, which means that they are unable to access this grant. it leads us to communication, because this is now also reported to be another major issue. Why is that? Why is communication also failing here?
You know, communication has been part of, has featured in all, if not most, of our meetings with the department and Sassa as the portfolio committee meeting, having been a member of the portfolio committee in the last 2 terms as well. But it does not seem to be, we don't seem to be reaching a stage where communication at Sassa is not an issue that it is at the moment. You would, I don't know if Toli, you would have heard about a survey that we did that found 212 of the 424 local offices of Sassa, and that is 50%, and only 4 of the offices called actually answered the phone. I'm not going to get into a place where I'm saying what did people say, what did Sassa say to the people that called, just to answer. So there is a huge problem in as far as communications is concerned. And since this grant, particularly if you can talk about it, the SRD grant is an online, people don't get helped when they walk in to Sassa offices, which is why I agree totally with you when you say we need to review the conditions or the ecosystem around which this grant is being paid.
Talking about this element around people needing to use cell phones, the department's officials, one of them is a Mr. Nkosinathi Dladla, was defending the very online application system. He says, and I want to quote him directly, the cell phone data does not even require data, and one cell phone number can be used by 5 applicants, he said. The process is so easy in that all SRD applicants can choose their method of application, being either the special SRD website, which guides them with questions through the process, or WhatsApp channel, which does the same. This process does not even take more than 20 minutes. Do you agree with that sentiment?
I agree with that sentiment to the effect that for a person who has a know-how, who knows what a website is, who has a phone. I had no idea that you don't need data to actually apply for this grant. So I'm being taught a lesson there. But I still believe that a person who does not know how to access a website, this is a huge thing for them to do. And we do need, as the grant is now has been extended for as long as it has, we need to take into consideration that the unemployment levels are increasing, and more people are becoming are standing in the queues of this grant. And so we need to be careful that with the coverage of this grant covers even the people that do not know how it is to actually access the grant on an online sort of platform.
Finally, as you talk about the extension of the grant for as long as it has, dating back, I think it was the year 2020 when COVID hit the country. We're now sitting in 2024. Today, actually, part of the major argument would have been the 370 Rand a month. That is the amount right now. Obviously, the Economic Justice, the Institute for Economic Justice, they're saying that amount is very little. As a portfolio committee, where would you put the amount in order for people, I'm not going to say for people to live comfortable, but at least live above the bread line?
You know, Toli, if there was an abundance of money in the fiscus, the place where you can put this grant is the lower bound poverty line of South Africa, which is 760 rand. And that is what, as you rightly say, you would know that the basket of basic items of a household of 5 people at the moment is estimated no less than 4,000 rand. And so at 760 rand for a person that is unemployed, they would be able, I guess, to get very, very, very basic items for food, but they would also be able to go and look for work and so on and so forth. And that is nowhere near what it costs for a family to live on, but it would be a step in the right direction.
Bridget Masango, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development in Parliament, thank you very much for your time and insights tonight. All right.